This question comes up quite a bit, and I've explained that for the last 13 years I've been a commuter in the Bay Area. For 6 of those years it was in South San Francisco, and then now I commute to the East Bay, and I have for the last 8 years. And this question is very pertinent to me because I have to deal with it on a daily basis. And so the question asked, what would you support? And the one leading question was about, do I support more public transit? And I don't know if I support necessarily more public transit, but I read a story the other day that said they wanted to separate the two public transit agencies. Now, one of the issues for commuters, and when I did my survey about 8 years ago, I couldn't find a system that linked together so I could get to Oakland using public transit. Right? 511 doesn't actually do what you think it does. It doesn't have to buy the ticket for you. It doesn't, I mean, we have antiquated ways of connecting these systems. And as a systems guy, and to give you a little bit of my background, the government drops me into disasters, not just to care for people, but to help rebuild communities. That means their systems, their water systems, power. I just came off of a $60 million response to the Lake and Calaveras counties trying to get all of those systems back in line, including 3,000 people getting their homes. So when you're talking about transit, it's about using technology. So I've talked repeatedly about funding the metering lights along the corridor. When you look at examples of the East Bay, peak period, 55 miles an hour, everything's flowing. Especially a little closer to San Jose, you can see a very good example of that. But we haven't. We've built those systems, but we never turned them on. What about using apps? And I'm a computer guy, you don't see me taking notes. I like to use my computer. And most of us do. I think we're of the age now. We need to be able to link these systems together so they're continuous. So I can figure out from where I'm standing right here, how I get to San Francisco. So we haven't done that. And I think you need to elect leaders in office that are willing to look at that. They're not easy solutions. Nothing ever really is. But I'm accustomed to doing that because of the disaster environment I've been dealing with for the last 8 years. I'm a long-time commuter, and one of the suggestions, and the questions actually got edited, the ones that was sent, that said, you know, we need to open up the third lane Richmond-Sanderfeld Bridge. Does anybody remember a piece of the Richmond-Sanderfeld Bridge falling off and into the bay? It was about 2004, 2003. I got joked at work because they're like, hey, you drove from Marin, did you fall in the bay? And people don't recognize that that bridge is constantly under maintenance. So adding a third lane, though it seems like a good idea, when you look at the traffic congestion, it's about the toll road on the east side, and it's about congestion of transit and just trying to transition into those 2 lanes, because most people shotgun through into San Quentin and then get onto the other side, and it's about transition. So metering lights would certainly help that. And so when I suggested in previous candidate nights, we really do need to build a proper transition from 101 to the 580, and unlike Dominic, I don't support that being on Sir Francis Drake. We're not going to build Sir Francis Drake into a 4-lane road. It needs to come from the 101 to the 580 so we can articulate where traffic should be flowing. And I strongly believe that that's probably going to solve that critical solution there, but it doesn't solve it in Corte Madera and Mill Valley as you continue down. And so that's what I would support, and to be respectful of the question, I will end there. Give you a little bit of background. I may not necessarily have worked on traffic, but I've worked on transportation systems, and when I was a planner for the Southern California earthquake, when I just helped complete the Bay Area earthquake plan, how many in the room have planned for the evacuation of 1 million people? I have. And so it's not just about these intricate systems. I have a complexity to my experience that allows me the opportunity to be able to look at some of these things as systems and work with a very complex group of people who have, right, they own different systems, whether it's the waterways like the Coast Guard and some of the Bay Area groups, or if it's the transit systems like trains and roads. So I use this as examples to give you context to my answer. I don't believe as a commuter that it actually will hurt businesses. As a commuter, if I've got a half an hour, I'd probably drop into Marin Brewing and grab a beer. Or I might walk through that shopping center while I'm killing time for either the ferry or the train. And I see that sort of transit shopping occurring when SMART comes in. And I voted for every tax increase for SMART. And the reason is I carry a BART and Metro card, and if you don't know what Metro is, it's the DC system. I don't rent a car when I go to DC, and I have to go to my headquarters and our offices there. I ride Metro everywhere I go. And I ride BART every place I can go. So if I go to the East Bay, if I go to Walnut Creek to visit our friends at Kaselionis, I take BART. I don't drive my car. And so I understand those systems that they really need to do, and it really is just a block. Most people can handle that. And I think that that's what we should be invigorating is a a community that's invigorated to want to get outside, to want to do those things. And if you want to see somebody do something, I would encourage you to look at my Facebook page. I swam 13 miles about a week and a half ago, and I try to embody that persona. So.